breached the Capitol, and we had hours worth of violence. So it's a pretty clear signal here from Republican leader McCarthy as to which direction he wants to take these hearings. And sure, two of the members there didn't do that. They didn't vote to decertify. They did go along with the democratic process and acknowledge that Joe Biden was indeed elected president, but the other three don't. And Jim Jordan, as we know, is one of former President Trump's most vocal defenders and has been willing to say blatant untruths in order to defend the former president. He's closely aligned himself with it, and we know that he still speaks to the former president frequently, whether Trump is in Mar-a-Lago or Bedminster here. So there's no sense that the House Speaker Pelosi will object to these picks, but we certainly will learn more in the next day or so if that were to be the case. But I think that there are real fears among Democrats. This is now just going to be a sideshow, that this is going to be more of the same from Republicans, that they will continue to latch onto the big lie. That there were need to contest the election, that there were voter irregularities. And of course, there's no evidence of widespread voter fraud, and continue to downplay what happened on January 6th, try to whitewash the riot that day, one of the darkest days in the nation's history, in order to move forward with their eyes solely focused on the midterms next fall.
Yeah, and given Kevin McCarthy's recent trip to visit President Trump, I find his answer to reporters that he didn't talk to Trump about this to be questionable, at the very least. Kurt Bardella, another one of the folks chosen to be on this committee is Troy Nehls. Why does he stand out to you? He's from Texas.
Yeah, Mika, if Speaker Pelosi is looking for one member that she may want to think about not approving, it's Congressman Troy Nehls. This is somebody who was fired from the Richmond Police Department in Texas for not handling evidence the right way. When he was fired, the person that was in charge of that, who made that decision, his commanding officer, sent him a letter with more than 20 documented infractions of breaching and breaking with policy. If you are not qualified to be a police department member in Richmond, Texas, how the hell are you qualified to serve on an investigative committee where you could have access to very sensitive and potentially classified information about a domestic terrorist event in the United States of America? This is somebody who is grossly unqualified, who is ethically questionable, who has demonstrated time and again that when given the choice to make the right decision, the moral decision, or his own personal interest decision, that's the side that he goes for. And so for Kevin McCarthy to appoint somebody to this committee with that type of history, who's been fired from law enforcement before, that is incredibly disturbing and just tells you the level of severity the Republicans are taking in wanting to get to the truth and understanding and expanding the full scope of what happened on January 6th.
And Kurt, you were among many who were pushing for a select committee on this. Explain to us what's next and how you think Democrats should handle this.
Well, what's going to happen next is coming up here at the end of the month, they're going to have their first committee hearing, and it's going to feature the law enforcement personnel as witnesses who are on the ground. And it's going to really put Democrats in the position to challenge Republicans to say, if you think this was just a terrorist event, if you think this wasn't violent, if you think that this wasn't what our eyes and ears tell us it is from the footage, listen to these officers. Listen to these Blue Lives Matter, Protect and Serve, Law and Order. Listen to their testimony and sit there on that dais, Jim Banks and Jim Jordan, and pretend like this didn't happen. That's the thing that Democrats need to do. They need to use this opportunity to put on a show for the American people that challenges Republicans to contradict the brave men and women who put their lives literally on the line, were attacked and assaulted. They need to challenge the Republicans to go against them right there sitting in front of them in real time.
And that's the thing, Gene Robinson. We know Jim Jordan will be an obstructionist. That's probably why he's there, to gum up the works a little bit. But is he really going to sit across from a D.C. Metro police officer or a Capitol police officer sworn to protect Jim Jordan's life and question his version of the events that day? It'll be interesting to see. I suspect he'll more question broadly the existence of the Select Committee and why it's necessary. But what is reasonable for people to expect? It's awful hard these days to change hearts and minds. People are so solidified in their positions. We can't get a lot of people in this country to take a vaccine that will change their life. So what should we expect from this committee?
Well, we should expect from the Republicans obstruction and clownish behavior. That's what Jim Jordan is, and that's what he will do. He'll come out there in his shirt sleeves with not wearing a jacket because that's his thing, and he'll try to send this committee off the rails, and that's clearly his assignment on this committee. And Democrats will just have to, Democrats plus Liz Cheney. And maybe there'll be some seriousness from the two Republicans who did not vote to decertify the election. But they'll just have to, the serious people on the committee will just have to press ahead and assert control over Jordan and Nails and whoever else is essentially trying to destroy any possibility that the committee actually finds answers and does serious work. It is astounding that McCarthy would take this path, his own life having been in danger on January 6th, and that of all the members he is supposed to lead. But that's what he did. And when somebody shows you who they are, believe them. We know who Kevin McCarthy is, and we know who Jim Jordan is, and that's what they're going to try to do. They're going to try to send it off the rails.